You know when you feel that annoying little canker sore that never heals? It was like that, but on the side of my tongue. At first, I thought I had accidentally bitten it, distracted thinking about life, bills, work. I used those canker sore sprays, strong mouthwash. I even made saltwater rinses. I believed it would disappear in a few days. I was really ignoring it, Like, oh, it's just a stubborn canker sore. But as time passed, weeks turned into months, and this canker sore showed no sign of improvement. On the contrary, it started bothering me more, burning when I ate acidic things. Even speaking felt kind of strange. I avoided going to the doctor, I confess, maybe out of fear or laziness. I don't know. I kept fooling myself, saying it was just me overreacting, that it would go away soon. But then there was a day I'll never forget, when the pain became so strong, so constant, that I simply couldn't ignore it anymore. There, standing in front of the mirror, seeing that horrible sore on my tongue, I knew I needed help. The game was over. Hi everybody, my name is Sophia. I'm 35 years old, and until recently my life was normal. Work, friends, family, that routine without major emotions, but that made me happy, a common life, like that of many other people. But then, everything changed. A small, insignificant thing turned into a nightmare that made me rethink everything. And today, here I am, with my heart in my hand to tell you this story. It's not easy, okay? Going through all this hurts, but I feel like I need to share. Maybe if I had listened to the signals of my body earlier, if I hadn't neglected that little canker sore on my tongue, things would have been different. That's why I'm here. To warn, to inform, to make sure that other people don't make the same mistake I did. I know it's a cliche, but we only appreciate our health when we lose it. And I lost mine, for a while. And along with it, I almost lost my voice. And that's when I realized that no amount of money, no fortune, can buy back what we neglect. Our health is the most precious asset we have. So listen to your body. Don't ignore signs, no matter how small. Make that appointment you've been postponing for months. Take care of yourselves. Because in the end, the only person who can do that for you is yourself. And I truly hope that my story serves as a warning and helps you take better care of yourselves. At first, it was just a discomfort, a slight burning sensation, as if I had burned my tongue with something hot. I must have overdone it with the coffee, I thought, blaming the drink that helped me face the long work days. I was always on the go, meetings, deadlines, spreadsheets. My life was a constant marathon, and the last thing I had time for was to worry about a simple burn on my tongue. As the burning sensation persisted, I began to associate it with stress. Of course, with all this pressure, my body is giving me signals, I justified, unaware of the seriousness of the situation. I bought those mouthwashes promising immediate relief, the ones that advertise fresh breath and total protection. I used them religiously several times a day, hoping that the solution would be there, in that mentholated liquid. I also remember turning to throat lozenges, the ones with honey and lemon flavor, promising to soothe the irritation. I deceived myself with the momentary sensation of relief, without realizing that I was just masking the problem. It was like putting a band-aid on a deep wound, without treating the underlying infection. And the routine continued relentlessly. I woke up early, had a rushed breakfast, spent the whole day at work, arrived home exhausted, had whatever for dinner, and went to bed, only to start all over again the next day. My health? Oh, it was always put off, always for later. When I have some time, when the dust settles, I told myself. But later never came. In addition to mouthwashes and lozenges, I also tried ointments for mouth ulcers, the ones that numb the area. They worked for a while, but the relief was temporary. And worse, the wound on my tongue seemed to be increasing, changing in appearance. But I refused to believe it was something serious. It's just a mouth ulcer that won't heal, I repeated, as if the strength of my belief could push away reality. The truth is that I was afraid. Afraid of what it could be, afraid of having to stop, afraid of facing the fragility of my body. So I preferred to deceive myself, self-medicate, postpone the inevitable, until one day, the pain became unbearable, and the wound became too visible to be ignored. It was there, in that moment of despair, that I realized how much I had neglected my health and how much it could cost me. The rebellious mouth ulcer, as I stubbornly called it, was taking on darker contours. From a simple annoyance, it became a piercing, constant pain that radiated throughout my mouth and jaw. Eating became torture. Acidic, hot, or spicy foods were like embers touching the wound. I ended up restricting my diet to warm liquids and purees, losing weight and vitality. Work, which used to be my escape, became a burden. Concentrating on spreadsheets and meetings was almost impossible with the throbbing pain. My productivity plummeted, and I started to feel insecure and incompetent. Constant absences to go to the doctor, or simply to try to relieve the pain, earned me dirty looks and hurtful comments. I had to come up with flimsy excuses to justify my absences, which only increased my stress and anguish. My relationships also suffered. Constant irritability turned me into a bitter and impatient person. I avoided going out with friends, afraid that the pain would prevent me from enjoying leisure moments. Conversations with my family became superficial and tense. I didn't want to worry them, so I hid my suffering behind forced smiles and evasive phrases. Even simple activities activities like walking or sleeping became a challenge. The pain prevented me from relaxing and falling asleep. I spent sleepless nights, tossing and turning in bed, searching for a position that would relieve the discomfort. The lack of sleep left me exhausted and irritable, creating a vicious cycle of suffering. I began to notice physical limitations that were previously unthinkable. I had difficulty speaking, chewing, even swallowing. The words came out slurred and incomprehensible, and often I had to repeat phrases several times for people to understand me. It was frustrating and humiliating. I felt as if my body was betraying me, imprisoning me in a cage of pain and suffering. There were moments of pure despair. I remember one particular night when the pain was so intense that I even considered giving up everything. I felt powerless, hopeless, as if I were drowning in a sea of anguish. I cried uncontrollably, begging for relief, for a respite that never came. Despite the suffering, I refused to admit the gravity of the situation to those around me. I was afraid they would see me as weak, sick, incapable. I feared judgment, pity, distance. So I continued to wear masks, make excuses, hide my pain. But the truth is, inside, I was falling apart. With each passing day, I felt more isolated, more desperate, closer to the edge. And I knew that, at some point, my facade would crumble, revealing the fragility that I tried so hard to conceal. The breaking point was a day when, trying to take a simple sip of water, I felt such a strong pain that I screamed, a pain that radiated from my tongue to my ear, leaving me dizzy and breathless. There, on the kitchen floor, amidst tears and sobs, I knew I could no longer escape reality, that I needed to face the fear and seek medical help. I called the first dentist I found online and managed to get an appointment for the next day. The night was a torment. The pain wouldn't leave me alone, and anxiety gnawed at me from within. Millions of thoughts invaded my mind. Is it something serious? Will I need surgery? What if I lose my voice? I tried to calm down, to breathe deeply, but the fear was stronger. On the following day, I arrived at the doctor's office with my heart in my hand. The waiting room felt like purgatory. Each minute dragged on like an eternity. When I was finally called in, my legs trembled and my hands were cold with sweat. The dentist, a kind-looking gentleman with a calm voice, examined me carefully. He asked several questions about my habits, my diet, my symptoms. Then he requested some tests, including a biopsy of the lesion on my tongue. The wait for the results was agonizing, a week that felt like a year. Every time the phone rang, my heart raced. Every message made my hands tremble. I tried to avoid thinking the worst, but doubt consumed me. I tried to distract myself with movies, books, conversations with friends, but nothing was enough to calm my anguish. Finally, the day arrived. I went to the office accompanied by my sister, who gave me strength to face the moment. The dentist welcomed us with a serious expression. He took a deep breath and uttered the words that would change my life forever. "Sophia, the biopsy results confirmed that you have tongue cancer." The world crumbled. The dentist's words echoed in my mind like thunder. Cancer. Such a small word, but with such weight. A word that always seemed distant to me. Something that happened to others, never to me. I felt a shock run through my body, followed by a wave of disbelief. It couldn't be true. Not me. Tears started flowing uncontrollably. My sister hugged me tight, trying to comfort me, but nothing seemed to make sense. Fear took over me. A paralyzing, overwhelming fear. Fear of pain, of treatment, of surgery, of the possibility of losing my voice. Fear of the future, of uncertainty, of death. At that moment, I felt completely lost, alone, helpless. The world around me seemed to have lost its color, its sparkle, its joy. I looked at my sister's face, at the dentist's, but couldn't see anything beyond my own despair. Questions came in an avalanche. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? Am I going to die? I searched for answers in vain, trying to understand the inexplicable. I needed support, comfort, someone to tell me that everything would be all right, even though I knew it wasn't true. From that day on, my life changed forever. The stubborn canker sore that I had ignored so much turned into a monster that haunted me every moment. And the struggle for my health, my voice, my life had only just begun. The shock of the diagnosis was devastating, but the need to act drove me. Consultations with oncologists, radiation therapists, and surgeons became routine. Tests, biopsies, CT scans, a battery of procedures to map the extent of the cancer and define the best treatment strategy. The initial plan was aggressive: surgery to remove the tumor, followed by radiation and chemotherapy. The surgery was extensive and delicate. It removed part of the tongue and some lymph nodes from the neck. I woke up in the ICU, intubated with a drain in my neck and my mouth sewn shut. The pain was piercing, constant, and the sensation of suffocation terrified me. In the first few days, feeding was done through a tube, and communication was limited to gestures and scribbled notes. Radiotherapy and chemotherapy came next, with their devastating side effects: nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, loss of appetite. My body wasted away every day. My mouth became inflamed and sore, making eating even more difficult. The radiation-burned skin itched and burned incessantly. The fatigue was extreme, a weariness that prevented me from performing even the simplest tasks. Losing my hair was one of the most difficult moments. Watching my strands fall out in tufts made me feel even more fragile and vulnerable. I bought scarves and wigs, but nothing made me feel comfortable. The image in the mirror was of a strange, distant, unrecognizable person. Hospitalizations became frequent. Infections, fevers, complications. Each trip to the hospital was a mix of fear and hope. The needles, the IV drips, the medications, everything reminded me of my fragility and the seriousness of my illness. There were moments of pure discouragement, days when the pain was unbearable, hope was fading, and the urge to give up was almost irresistible. I cried in hiding in the bathroom, afraid of worrying my family. I felt anger, frustration, revolt. Why me? Why was this happening to me? But amidst the darkness, I always found a ray of light. My mother's embrace, my father's smile, the supportive messages from my friends. Every gesture of affection gave me strength to keep going. The medical team was also crucial. The doctors, nurses, physiotherapists, dietitians, they all treated me with professionalism and humanity, encouraging me to never lose faith. Gradually, I learned to deal with the changes in my body, with the limitations imposed by the disease. I started practicing light exercises, eating in a healthier way, seeking activities that brought me pleasure. I discovered the importance of meditation, yoga, therapy. I learned to value each moment, each smile, each small achievement. The battle against cancer was the hardest challenge of my life, but it was also the most transformative experience. I learned to be stronger, more resilient, more grateful. I learned to love myself, to value the people who love me, and to never lose hope. And today, I can proudly say, I beat cancer. The journey was long and painful, but I became a better person, and my voice, even if a bit different, still resonates with strength and determination. Because in the end, what matters is not the voice you lose, but the voice you find within yourself. Many people confuse terminal illness with palliative care, and it is important to clarify this crucial difference. Being in a terminal state means that the disease has reached an irreversible point, where the chances of a cure are practically nil, and life expectancy is limited to weeks or months. It is a delicate moment that requires medical care and significant emotional support. Palliative care, on the other hand, is much broader and can be started at any stage of the disease, even when there are still chances of a cure. The primary goal is not to prolong life at any cost, but to provide maximum comfort and quality of life for the patient and their families. Palliative care aims to alleviate pain, control symptoms, offer psychological and spiritual support, and help the patient make informed decisions about their treatment. Being in palliative care does not mean it's the end of the line. On the contrary, it means that the medical team is focused on ensuring that you feel the best possible, both physically and emotionally. It is a moment of support, attentive listening, respect for your wishes and needs. Palliative care covers various areas. Pain control is fundamental, using medication and other techniques to relieve suffering. Mental health care is equally important, with psychological support to deal with anxiety, fear, depression, and other difficult emotions. Spiritual support can also be offered, respecting the beliefs and values of each patient. In addition, palliative care aims to provide physical comfort, such as assistance with personal hygiene, adapting the environment to facilitate mobility, and guidance on proper nutrition. The goal is to ensure that the patient feels as comfortable and secure as possible to make the most of the time they have. In my cancer journey, palliative care was essential in helping me cope with the side effects of treatment and maintain hope. Alternative therapies like meditation, yoga, and acupuncture were great allies in this process. Meditation helped me calm my mind, reduce anxiety, and find a space of inner peace amidst chaos. Through conscious breathing and mindfulness, I learned to deal with pain and fear more peacefully. Yoga provided me with physical and emotional relief. The stretches and gentle poses helped relax tense muscles, alleviate joint pain, and improve my overall well-being. Furthermore, yoga connected me with my body in a deeper way, helping me accept changes and appreciate every movement. Acupuncture was a powerful tool for controlling nausea, headaches, and other treatment symptoms. The thin needles, applied to specific points on the body, stimulated the release of endorphins, neurotransmitters that promote well-being and pain relief. These alternative therapies did not replace conventional medical treatment, but complemented it effectively, helping me deal with the challenges of the disease in a more holistic and integrated way. They showed me that, even in the face of adversity, it is possible to find comfort, peace, and hope. And they taught me that caring for the body, mind, and spirit is essential to living a full and meaningful life, regardless of circumstances. Life has these surprises, not always pleasant. After a period of calm, believing that the storm had passed, the news came like a bolt from the blue. The illness returned, the recurrence, a word that echoed in my mind with an even greater weight than in the initial diagnosis. It was as if everything was starting over, a painful setback in my journey. The frustration was immense. After so much struggle, so much suffering, so many changes, having to face it all over again seemed unfair. A sense of powerlessness took hold of me. Why was this happening again? What had I done wrong? Millions of unanswered questions. The new symptoms appeared surreptitiously. A persistent pain in my back, an extreme fatigue that did not go away with rest, a dry cough that tormented me at night. At first, I tried to ignore them, attributing the symptoms to the stress of daily life. But the persistence of the signs made me seek medical help again. The exams confirmed the worst: metastasis. The cancer had spread to other organs, making the treatment more complex and challenging. The fear of death, which I had managed to control for a while, resurfaced with full force. The uncertainty of the future, the possibility of not seeing my children grow up, the pain of leaving my family, thoughts that haunted me every moment. Accepting the new reality was a slow and painful process. I had to face the fragility of my condition, the finiteness of life. I cried, I rebelled, I questioned. But little by little, I began to understand that the fight was not over, that even in the face of adversity, there was still hope. I sought psychological support to deal with the intense emotions that overwhelmed me. Therapy helped me organize my thoughts, express my feelings, and reframe the experience of the illness. I learned not to blame myself, not to put pressure on myself, to accept my limitations. Faith was also a fundamental pillar in this moment. Prayer, meditation, connection with the divine brought me peace, comfort, and hope. Believing that there is something greater than us, that we are not alone, strengthened me and gave me the strength to move forward. I decided to focus on living in the present, on enjoying each day as if it were the last. I prioritized moments with my family, gatherings with friends, activities that bring me pleasure. I learned to appreciate the small things, gestures of affection, sincere smiles. I discovered that life is a precious gift, that every moment is unique and unrepeatable, and that, even in the face of illness, it is possible to find joy, love, and meaning. I embraced vulnerability, imperfection, uncertainty, and I allowed myself to be happy, despite everything. The relapse taught me that the journey of life is full of ups and downs, challenges and triumphs, that we cannot always control what happens to us, but we can choose how to react. And that, even in the face of pain, it is possible to find the inner strength to move forward, with courage, hope, and faith. My voice, even if sometimes choked with emotion, continues to resonate, carrying the message that life is worth living to its fullest. After so long focused on fighting the disease, the relapse forced me to change my focus. Not that the fight is over, far from it, but the priority now is to live intensely every moment, every breath, every smile. I discovered that happiness is not found in great achievements or extraordinary moments, but in the little things, in the details that often go unnoticed in the rush of everyday life. One of my greatest pleasures is feeling the sun on my face in the morning. Waking up early, opening the window, and letting the light flood the room fills me with energy and hope. It's as if the sun reminds me that a new day has begun, full of opportunities and possibilities. I like to have my breakfast on the balcony, enjoying the view and the birdsong. This moment of tranquility prepares me to face the day with more lightness and positivity. I love cooking. Before, it was an obligation, something I did out of necessity. Today, it's a therapy, a moment of relaxation and creativity. I enjoy trying out new recipes, combining ingredients, feeling the aromas mixing in the air. Cooking for my family is a way of showing love and care. Seeing their happy faces while savoring the food I prepared with such care fills me with joy. Reading is another refuge. Diving into the pages of a book transports me to other worlds, allows me to live other lives, makes me forget about problems and worries. I enjoy reading novels, poetry, biographies. Each book is a new adventure, a new opportunity to learn and grow. Reading before bed helps me relax and have a more peaceful sleep. Conversations with my friends are a balm for the soul. Sharing joys, sorrows, fears, hopes, knowing that I have people who love and support me unconditionally gives me strength to keep going. I love going out for dinner, to the movies, having a picnic in the park. The important thing is being together, laughing, talking, celebrating life. The hugs from my children are my greatest source of energy. Feeling the warmth of their bodies, the smell of their hair, the softness of their hands. It's as if all my problems disappear. I love playing with them, telling stories, giving goodnight kisses. The love of my children is my greatest treasure. Illness taught me to value relationships, to realize that people are more important than things, that love is stronger than pain, that friendship is a precious gift. I learned to express my feelings, to say I love you without fear, to show gratitude for the people in my life. I also learned to be grateful for life. Every day, every moment, every small joy. Thankful for the sun, the rain, a stranger's smile, a friend's hug, my family's love. Gratitude helps me focus on the good things, overcome difficult moments, and appreciate what truly matters. I have set aside unnecessary concerns, excessive demands, the pursuit of perfection. I have learned to accept my limitations, to forgive my mistakes, to love my imperfections. I have embraced simplicity, authenticity, lightness, and I discovered that happiness lies in being who I am, without masks, without filters, without fear. Life and death, once so distant, have become faces of the same coin. Before, I saw them as opposites. Life as a gift to be enjoyed without thinking of the end, and death as a taboo to be avoided at all costs. Illness brought me closer to finitude, made me face the fragility of existence and the certainty that one day everything ends. But paradoxically, this closeness to death death made me value life even more. I learned that life is not a race to get somewhere, but rather a journey to be appreciated with each step. That what is important is not accumulating material possessions or achieving professional success, but cultivating meaningful relationships, living unforgettable moments, and leaving a positive legacy in the world. I discovered that happiness does not lie in having everything, but in being grateful for what one has. Illness has transformed me in ways I never imagined. It made me stronger because I had to face physical and emotional pain that I didn't know I could bear. It made me more resilient because I learned to rise after each fall, to overcome each obstacle, to never lose hope. It made me more compassionate because I began to understand the pain of others, to put myself in their shoes, to offer support and comfort. Before, I was a person focused on myself, worried about my own problems and ambitions. Illness opened my eyes to the world around me, made me realize the importance of helping others, of making a difference in people's lives. I started to engage in social projects, to donate my time and resources to causes I believe in, to use my voice to defend the rights of the most vulnerable. The legacy I want to leave is that of a person who loved intensely, who fought with courage, who lived with purpose. I want to be remembered as someone who inspired others to take care of their health, to value life, to pursue their dreams. I want to leave a better world for future generations, a world that is fairer, more supportive, more humane. I believe that health is our most precious asset. Without it, nothing else matters. Therefore, it is crucial to take care of our body, mind, and spirit, to eat healthily, to exercise, to sleep well, to avoid stress, to nurture positive relationships, to engage in activities that bring us pleasure. Life is a gift, a unique opportunity to learn, grow, love, and share. We cannot waste it on unnecessary worries, past grievances, or fears of the future. We need to live in the present, to cherish each moment, to celebrate every achievement. To those facing challenges similar to mine, I want to leave a message of hope and encouragement. Do not give up. Believe in yourselves. Trust in your inner strength. Seek support from those who love you. Life can be hard, but it can also be beautiful. Do not let illness define who you are. Be strong, be brave, be resilient, and never lose faith. Remember, you are not alone. There are many people who care about you, who want to help, who wish for your well-being. Allow yourself to receive this love, this attention, this care, and above all, love yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Value every moment of your life because you are special, unique, and deserve to be happy. And remember, no millionaire can buy back their own voice. Take care of yourselves. My story, with all its ups and downs, with pain and overcoming, serves as a constant reminder. Listen to your body. It speaks, it whispers, it screams. Do not ignore the signs. That persistent ache, that stubborn mark, that inexplicable fatigue, all of it could be a warning. Do not be afraid to seek medical help. An early diagnosis can make all the difference between a long and hard battle and a quicker, more effective recovery. Prevention is key. Regular checkups, routine exams, healthy habits. Invest in your health. It is your most valuable asset. If I could give one piece of advice based on everything I've lived through, it would be this. Face illness with courage, faith, and hope. Do not succumb to fear, hopelessness, or anger. Allow yourself to feel sadness, anger, frustration, but do not let these feelings overcome you. Seek strength in faith, love, friendship, the beauty of life. Believe in the body's ability to heal, in the wisdom of doctors, in the power of prayer, and above all, never lose hope. Believe that it is possible to overcome, that it is possible to have a fulfilling and happy life, even in the face of illness. My journey has taught me that life is a gift that should be cherished, enjoyed, lived to the fullest. I've learned to love each day as if it were the last, to savor every moment with the people I love, to celebrate every small victory. I am thankful for every smile, every hug, every sunbeam. I am grateful for my family, my friends, the doctors who cared for me, the faith that sustained me. And above all, I am grateful for life, for the opportunity to be here, to share my story, to inspire others to live with more love, more gratitude, and more hope. I believe in the strength of life, in the human capacity to overcome challenges, in the beauty of the world, and I believe that together we can build a better future, a more just, more compassionate, more humane future. May my story inspire you to take care of your health, to cherish life, and to never lose hope.